for a big risk taker, to win it. It sets up more for a game manager who doesn't make mistakes like Jordan Spieth when he's on his A game, but we'll get to that later. Other people that we're ruling out, Sergio, he might play well for a couple rounds, but at some point in time, what he's got in between the ears will get in his way as well. And the one other wild card that maybe fits into this category, but maybe doesn't, I'm not sure, is Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson's playing great, and Phil Mickelson has a history and a reputation for being a gambler on the golf course. But I think at this stage in his career and in his game, he might be, more well-rounded and more disciplined in his approach and his strategy out there on the course. And he's putting great right now this year. His save percentage is great. Statistically, he's got what we like and what we're looking for in the winners at this tournament. So he's a wild card. But there's your big names that we really were not too high on, with the exception of Phil Mickelson for this tournament. But again, I could see Phil really struggling here too, finding bunker troubles early in days 1 or 2, maybe even day 3, and just wouldn't surprise me at all if he's not competing. But I think he is the likely surprise darling of the big names that you might be cheering for that I mentioned. But now let's get to the real favorites, both big name and sleepers. Now, as I mentioned, sleepers is really what you're looking for and to expect in this tournament. The U.S. Open just in general is that type of tournament. This Oakmont course is that type of course. And so far this season is that type of season. Well, we've got these great, amazing golfers in the world playing great golf right now by the names of Jason Day and Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth, amongst others. You've got a lot of these tournaments being won, your only major so far, your big tournament, being won by a relative unknown, that being Danny Willett. And I really get the feeling that it is going to be another name like that ends up winning this year's tournament. And it wouldn't surprise me if all 4 of the majors this year play out that way. Maybe one of them will get, a Rory or a Spieth or a Jason Day or a Phil, a big name. Maybe one major this year gets a big name, but at least 3 of the 4 are going to be a relatively unknown to the casual or less than casual golf fans. But so, since most of you aren't golf savants to my degree, let's start our favorites on who we like with the couple big names. Your number 1 ranked golfer in the world right now, Jason Day. No reason to believe that he will not have a very good showing and at least be in the top 5 or top 10 when it's all said and done on Sunday. That being said, this is a punishing course, and while Jason Day can out-hit a lot of trouble and has a phenomenal no weakness game whatsoever, you can only find yourself, in a hazard or, out of position from how you're looking to play the hole to score so many times before it catches up with you. And he is prone to that happening from time to time. However, he's not. The primary issue he had up until last year in his career was his inability to close. That is no longer an issue for this man whatsoever. You do not need to worry about that. But so Jason Day is my favorite of the big names, followed very closely by Jordan Spieth, who for the majority of this season has been struggling, has had composure issues, has had control issues with his ball flight and placement, just uncharacteristic of what we've come to know of this still very young 22-year-old man. That being said, within the last month or so, since the Masters tournament, I should say, he has seemed to get his game turned around, playing good, winning a tournament. And like I said, when we look at, to me, the key to winning this tournament is minimizing mistakes. And being able to be as efficient as possible in your game. That is Jordan Spieth's MO beyond anyone else's in the world right now. And so if Jordan Spieth brings his A game to this tournament and provides that for 4 rounds, he will be your winner because of the setup for this tournament, the way this course is going to play out. I think what I would hope to see, my dream outcome as a golf enthusiast right now, would be for Jason Day and Jordan Spieth to both be playing their absolute best and give us a Sunday showdown to go down in the anal logs of golf history, one for the ages, where even the loser has this place in history as a great freaking golfer and an amazing moment, even though they don't end up winning. That's what I'm hoping for, and it's definitely possible. Is it likely? I don't think we're going to see a ton of big names. I think Spieth and Day are your main big names to look for. Outside of that, like I said, Phil's a decent wild card. Adam Scott, he's having a phenomenal year outside of his meltdown, or I should say terrible performance, not meltdown necessarily, but his really poor performance at the Masters. Outside of that, he is having an exceptional season. He is a veteran that is disciplined and has all the strengths to navigate through this challenging course for 4 days. And so do not be surprised if my Masters pick Adam Scott, if, as a lot of times in the rare occasions that I am wrong, I was simply one too early, when predicting a team to be successful a year. I was just, nope, the next year was their year. I was a year ahead. That happens quite a bit. And so maybe that was the case with the tournaments and Adam Scott this year. So we like Adam Scott a lot, as well as a big-named veteran. But those are really, but he's not even really technically a big name outside of the golf world. Your only big star names that we like are Spieth and Day, with a really outside chance of Phil Mickelson. Your next level golf star names that we like would be Adam Scott, as I mentioned. Justin Rose is another one. Sergio, actually, even a bit of a wild card. Like I said, he might place well, but he won't win. Henrik Stenson, if you're in the golf world, he's a name that's having a good year and has all the tools to win on this course. Charles Schwartzel, a former major winner as well. And then two of the more modern new age golfers that are hot in the golf world right now would be Matt Kuchar, a little more up there in age, as well as Patrick Reed. And Patrick Reed is actually one of my absolute favorites to win this tournament, period. I will give you my top picks if you can pick a field of 5 or so. But I love Reed. Now for the sleeper picks, and again, I've told you why I like people and why I don't like people, so I'm not going to break them down anymore. My absolute favorite sleeper pick in this whole tournament is Russell Knox. Look for that name throughout this entire week. I'm telling you, Russell Knox. You heard it here first. Followed by Brandt Snedeker. Brandt Snedeker is going to have an excellent showing, a name that not a lot of people are familiar with. I also like Bryce Mulder and Thomas Aiken quite a bit as well. Lucas Glover is also another sleeper that I like quite a bit, and other names on my radar would be Louis Oosthuizen, Brooks Koepka, J.B. Holmes, Matsuyama, Colton Nost, and that's it. Yeah, all right. So if we're picking straight up winners, Day and Spieth are great money as favorites. You pick either one of those as your big dog, and you pick 5 or pick 4 or whatever, you're good. From there, though, you're probably going to have to, you're going to need lesser names, And this is where Patrick Reed is at the top of my list, followed by Russell Knox. They're in my top 5 to win, period, along with Day and Spieth, followed then by Snedeker, Kuchar, and a name I forgot to mention, Steve Stricker, as well as Bryce Mulder, Thomas Aiken, and then maybe if you're still looking to fill some out, I like Adam Scott, I like Justin Rose. No Dustin Johnson, no Ricky Fowler, no Rory McIlroy, and that is, I'm telling you, we'll watch how this plays out. You're going to see a fairly high score most likely win this tournament. You're not going to see a 14 under par on Sunday winning this tournament or anything like that. You're going to see like maybe a 4 under par, or maybe a 2 over par even winning this tournament. That's what the scoring is going to be like, and you're going to see when it's all said and done, it's going to be one of these people whose names you're not overly familiar with, like a Patrick Reed, a Russell Knox, or a Brandt Snedeker. But there is an outside chance that this is the major, that a big name wins this year, and if that's the case, look for Jordan Spieth or Jason Day. If either one of them bring their A game to any golf tournament for 4 consecutive days, they are going to win or get second place in that tournament every time. That's how good those two individuals are. If Rory's playing his A game, he's the only one with the talent really to hang with their A games for that long. But I have no reason to believe that this is the course or the year for Rory to win the U.S. Open. He's really, really low on my radar. He's on my radar by name recognition alone this year. But that is your balls deep PGA Tour United States Open preview. Boom. All right, so now we've got a few topics left, and we will quickie them before we get to our balls deep thought of the day and end this week's show. Actually, one final golf note yet on the U.S. Open. If you're looking to watch it on television, as I am, it will actually be on the first 2 rounds, Thursday and Friday, will be on Fox Sports 1, and the third and final rounds on Saturday and Sunday will be televised on Fox, which is actually, fairly unusual for major golf. Usually that's on NBC or CBS. So kind of a nice little change of pace, and I'll be curious to see what the presentation differences are like. But yeah, just so you know, if you're looking on CBS or NBC or wherever you would normally look for the golf, it's not on there. It's on Fox Sports 1 and Fox. So there you go. All right, now moving along quickie style, we'll go baseball, football, something like that, and we'll get out of here. All right. So let's go now then to the other primary sport that's being played at the moment, at least here, that most American sports fans are engaged in, and that would be Major League Baseball here in Minnesota. My, and hopefully not your, Minnesota Twins not having a very good season at all, to say the least. Since the last time we talked baseball, last week they were blown out in games 1 and 2 against the Red Sox at home. Then on Sunday they were able to win their third and final game of that series 7-4. Wanasei Kepler had a big game-winning walk-off home run, the first of his career. As a matter of fact, you gotta like that. Not long after that, Byron Buxton, in the very next game, I believe, against the Angels, hit his first home run of the year. Plouffe hit a home run in that game as well, and they won their second game in a row on Monday, starting off their series against the Angels out in Anaheim with a 9-4 victory. Then last night, Tuesday night, they lost a heartbreaker 5-4 against the Angels. And now tonight, here as I am recording this right now, it is after midnight, so it is technically the 16th now, and they are in the top of the 9th, trailing the Angels 10-2, so it looks like they will lose 2 of 3 in that series as well. They will be heading back home here today, Thursday at 7:10, to take on the New York Yankees for 4 games, Thursday through Sunday. 7:10 starts on Thursday and Friday night, 1:10 starts against the Yanks on Saturday and Sunday. Then after their series against the Yankees here, they will have a rare off day on Monday, and then they will start a 3-game homestand of interleague play, where they host the Philadelphia Phillies for 3 games. The Phillies are doing better than they were expected to, better than they did last year and the previous couple years. However, they're still a very mediocre at best team, so it'd be nice for the Twins to actually win a home series there for a change. Maybe we'll be talking about that on next week's show. But just a few quick notes to close out our Twins-specific baseball talk here. I am just relieved to finally see them, as I've pleaded with them multiple times on this show, to pick a direction, make a choice, pick a game plan, and stick with it, okay? And it should revolve around developing this young core of players that we have that we're looking to rely on in the years to come. That being guys like Max Kepler and Byron Buxton and even Nunez and Rosario and some of these pitchers like Barrios and Meyer and Duffy. This needs to be the focus, is developing those young players, and it seems, at least for the moment,